We're going to explain how to read a file in HTML. It's important to understand that HTML itself can't directly read files from your computer's file system for security reasons. Browsers prevent websites from accessing your local files without your explicit permission. To achieve this, you need to use JavaScript in conjunction with an HTML file input element. Let's break it down step by step. 1. The HTML file input. First, you need an input-typed file element in your HTML. This creates a button that allows users to select a file from their computer. You'll likely want to give it an ID for easy access in your JavaScript, like this, input type file ID file input. 2. JavaScript event. Listener. Next, you need JavaScript code to listen for when a file is selected. We'll use an event listener that triggers a function when the file input's value changes, meaning a file has been chosen. This code goes within script tags, typically placed just before the closing var body tag or in a separate JSS file linked to your HTML. The basic structure looks like this. Document get element by ID, file input. Add event listener change, handle file select. The handle file select is a function we'll define next. BRE, the handle file select function. This function is the heart of the operation. It gets the selected file from the input element, reads its contents, and then handles the data. The file is read asynchronously using the File Reader API. Inside this function, 3.1, get the file. We first retrieve the selected file using this.files. This assumes only one file is selected. 3.2, create a file reader. A file reader object is created. Let reader its new file reader. 3.3, set the onload event. We add an onload event listener to the file reader. This listener will execute once the file has been completely read. Inside this listener, the file's contents will be accessible in reader result. This might be text, but if it is a non-text file, it may not be readable in this context. 3.4, read the file. We call reader read as text file to start reading the file as text. You can use read as data URL for images or other binary files. 3.5, display the contents. Finally, inside the onload event handler, we'll typically display the reader.result, the file's content, somewhere on the web page, perhaps in a div or p element. This usually involves using document get element by a display area. Text content equals a reader.result, where display area is the ID of the element where the content will be shown. 4. Error handling. It's crucial to add error handling. For example, what happens if the user selects a file the browser can't read? You can use the onError event of the file reader to catch and handle potential errors. 5. Putting it together. A complete example would involve combining all these steps into a functional HTML file with embedded or linked JavaScript. Remember that you need a div or similar element with an ID to display the file's contents. Users will need to explicitly select a file using the Choose File button. The actual reading happens only after the user selects the file. This process allows you to read the content of a file chosen by a user. Remember to handle errors and consider the different file types that your code might need to support.